So I'm here in Lexington, Kentucky on a beautiful property that is part of the Airbnb that I'm staying at. And I wanted to just kind of reflect on some of the things that I've noticed are very different about owning a horse here as compared to owning a horse at home in California. And these are just random little observations. This is not a long video, but I wanted to invite you guys to comment down below because I know a lot of you are watching from all different parts of the United States. And some of these things might be completely normal to you, and some of them may be very different, like they were for me. So one of the things that I've noticed as I've been driving around, of course, there are horse farms all over the place. It is absolutely beautiful. And unfortunately, it's not as green as it normally is. It's called bluegrass, Kentucky here, but unfortunately the grass is looking a little bit more like California because they've had a drought. But I've noticed that a lot of the horses that are turned out are wearing halters, which where I'm from, that is less commonplace, and a lot of people will tell you not to do that because your horse can potentially get caught up on something. But I've noticed that a majority of the horses that I've seen turned out on these farms are wearing halters. And in fact, I've seen that they even sell specific turnout halters, presumably because they've got the breakaway snap on them. And a lot of the halters that I can buy in California have that too. But that was something that I just noticed was very different. It seems like most everyone around here rides English. Obviously horse racing is huge here, but most of the tack shops pretty much sell predominantly English gear. I found one Western kind of apparel shop nearby, and there is a boot barn. But when it comes to Western saddles and that kind of stuff, it seems like that is a little bit harder to find. So if you're talking to someone and you say that you ride horses, I think the assumption is that you do some kind of English discipline. They do happen to have a ton of tack shops in this area. I think I searched within, several mile radius of downtown Lexington, and there were at least a dozen options for me to go check out. So that was kind of exciting because at home I have one tack shop that I can access, and the others are very, very far away. I don't get the sense that there's a lot of quarter horses or draft horses here. There's a lot of standard breds, there's a lot of thoroughbreds, of course, a lot of warm bloods, I'm sure, because hunter jumpers is very popular. I did get a chance to visit the Asbury University equine program, and they actually have a wonderful program where the students are preparing horses for careers in mounted police work, and majority, actually all of those horses were draft crosses, and they actually start them out as yearlings doing a lot of groundwork and sensory stuff with them. So that was really cool to see, but I'm pretty sure those were the only drafts in the entire area from what I can tell. Because land is a lot cheaper out here, they have plentiful turnout pastures. And of course, some of these farms are very expensive, multi-million-dollar thoroughbred racing farms. But even the smaller scale farms have huge pastures that I can't even begin to fathom having in the Bay Area. And most of the fencing is your standard what they call 3 and 4 bar black wooden fencing. I remember as a child coming here, there were a lot more white fences, but it seems like most of the fences now are black, which I'm sure is much easier to maintain. But it's neat to see the horses have so much room for turnout. And of course, a lot of the fencing is double layered fencing, and that is to protect horses from fighting and injuring each other in different pastures. It also is protective in case there are stallions, because stallions in particular will fight. And it's just, I think, a nice extra layer of insurance if you're pulling horses in and out to have that extra layer of fencing. But that's one thing that's been really cool to see is just how much space the horses have. But there are so many vets in this area, as you might imagine. Some really beautiful veterinary hospitals. I mean, just from looking at the signs and the entrances, you can tell there's a lot of money that supports these practices. Another thing that I'm not used to is that a lot of the horses are stalled in barns. So they're actually in like 12 by 12 stalls in barns. There's no attached paddock, and everything is predominantly enclosed, and then they turn the horses out in these big pastures. And that makes sense given the weather, right? You've got snow and rain and all kinds of weather here in Kentucky that we don't have in California. In California, a lot of the boarding facilities will just have, if you have your horse stalled in a barn, there's an attached paddock that they can walk outside. And of course, the terrain here is very different. It's a lot of rolling hills. And I think as someone who loves mountains and loves the challenge of scaling a larger hill on a trail ride, I do think I would miss that, but I could see where it would be so much fun to just go cantering across some of these huge pastures. I would imagine they don't do a lot of year-round trail riding around here just because of the ice and the snow. So I wanted to invite you guys to leave a comment down below if there's something that you know is unique to the area that you live in about horse keeping that you'd like to share. I always find it fun to read the comments and learn from you guys and just kind of see what it's like to have a horse in different parts of the world. Appreciate you guys as always. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and we'll see you in the next video.